So I want to shout out Nicholas Takahashi for this article here on Bloomberg, going over how Toyota are going to be hit very hard by these tariffs compared to the big three automakers in the United States. These, of course, being General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis as well, who are, of course, effectively what Chrysler was, among many other brands too. Now, of course, any foreign-made car, with the exception of the UK now, actually, because the new deal that was struck there, is subject to a 27.5% tariff in total, whereas previously, I don't know what it was for Japan, but I know for the UK previously, it was just 2.5%. They basically added on 25% onto whatever it was before. And this is going to hit Toyota hard. I mean, we spoke about Toyota and how they are going to struggle with this, how they have basically withdrawn their actual estimates for how they're going to perform in 2025 and 2026 as well, over the next financial year, basically April to April, 25 to 26. But yeah, it's not looking too great from this, but I think Toyota are going to be fine, and I'll explain why as we go through this video. But yeah, let's just read out this article, and I'll give my thoughts as we go, because there's some interesting graphics that Bloomberg have put into this article as well, so shout out to those guys for that. The Toyota Motor Corporation is the biggest car maker in the world, and also the auto industry's biggest loser when it comes to projected losses from President Trump's trade war. Duties on imported cars and auto parts forced General Motors Company to slash its full-year profit guidance by as much as $5 billion, while Ford is bracing for another $1.5 billion annual hit. Toyota sees a $1.2 billion profit drop in just 2 months. While the Japanese automaker didn't provide a tally for all of 2025, it did project operating income of 3.8 trillion yen, $6.1 billion for the fiscal year ending March 26, far below the 4.7 trillion yen expected by analysis before this. And you can see it there. The tariff is really going to hit them hard when it comes to this. I mean, yeah, even though they probably don't have as many cars as what GM do. I mean, GM are absolutely massive, especially in the US. Overall, they are losing quite a bit of money when it comes to that. While Toyota has increased local production in the US to more than half of the sales in the country, it still relies on imports of key vehicle parts and models to the tune of 1.2 million cars a year. The White House has noticed, with Trump calling out the Toyota city-based automaker by name during his contentious Liberation Day speech in the Rose Garden on April 2nd, he complained about Toyota's 1 million foreign-made automobiles sold in the US. The huge tariff hit reflects the company's decision to hold the line on sticker prices at US dealerships and production volumes at its 11 American factories amid the start of a bilateral trade negotiation between the US and Japan. Those talks started in February, and it's unclear when they will conclude with a deal. When it comes to tariffs, the details are still incredibly fluid, Toyota's chief executive officer, Koji Sato, said last week after releasing the latest financial results. It's difficult to take steps or measure the impacts. Japan's chief trade negotiator, Ryozo Akasawa, said on April 30th that one unnamed Japanese automaker is currently losing around $1 million per hour from the tariff, citing a calculation made by an unidentified corporate executive. And if you're wondering how much in terms of the foreign-made cars, how much are coming through, Japan is the second biggest, only to Mexico, the immediate neighbor. But if you measure it by actual vehicle volume, it's less than South Korea. Hyundai and Kia, absolutely tearing things up there relatively. But yeah, in terms of value overall, they are second most, only behind Mexico. And that makes sense given how many car makers, well, for now, make vehicles in Mexico, given how cheap it is and close to the US. A Japanese government official on Friday declined to provide more specifics, but at that rate of loss, it isn't too far off the mark of the 1.2 billion hit Toyota that is projecting on 730 hours per month. Representatives for Toyota also didn't respond to requests for comment. Akazawa has expressed hope that an agreement could be reached in June, with the next round of negotiations taking place in late May. Most imported vehicles became subject to a 25% duty on April 3rd, while most auto parts become subject to that levy as of May 3rd. There are some executive orders that prevent duties from doubling up, but considering the US is the biggest car market for Japan's 5 largest car makers, even a moderately increase in tariff will have an outsized impact on their bottom lines. The Trump administration reached its first trade deal on May 8th with the United Kingdom, but the US has a $11.9 billion goods trade surplus with the UK from last year, whereas it ran a $68.5 billion deficit with Japan. That may make it more difficult to secure an agreement without significant concessions by one side. The hurdle is high for Japan to get auto tariffs lowered on exports to the US, said Hiroshi Nakayamoka, the chief strategist at T&D Asset Management Company. At the same time, the auto industry is too important for Japan to simply go along with what the US wants. Some Japanese automakers have responded to the tough new trade environment by making changes to their global manufacturing footprints. Nissan Motor Company halted US orders for its SUVs built in Mexico, while Honda is shifting production of the hybrid version of its Civic from Japan to the US. Due to retaliatory tariffs against the US, Mazda is stopping exports to Canada of one model that is manufactured at an Alabama factory that's a joint venture with Toyota. We will maintain our current operations while continuing to focus on reduced fixed costs while keeping a close eye on the movement by US authorities, including customs duties, a spokesperson for Toyota said in a statement. So clearly there's still some way to go. Clearly Toyota are going to be hurting from this. Clearly all the major Japanese manufacturers are going to be hurting from this as well, like Honda and Mazda, of course. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next with this. I mean, the fact that there is now one with the UK will give Japan hope, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be difficult. We'll have to see. I mean, as good as the UK-US one is, that is not as big as what Japan and the US will be. That is huge for both Japan and the US. So we'll see what happens. They obviously want to protect American interests, and Japan wants to protect Japanese interests. It's just the way these things go. And hopefully somewhere down the line they can meet in the middle, because 25% tariff plus 2.5, whatever it was originally, is a lot. That is a lot. So yeah. And it's interesting reading the comments from a few people as well on the subject. A lot of people are saying in the States that they don't really care about these tariffs. They will happily pay 25% more for a car made from a Japanese company rather than one in the US, like from GM, like from Ford, from any of those guys, just because the quality is so much higher. So we'll have to see what happens, guys. Interesting one for sure. But what are your opinions on it? Is this going to make you stop wanting to buy a Toyota or another car from Japan and go American instead? I want to hear what you have to say about this in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always. Have a great time wherever you are in the world today.